Clodagh Harrington is a senior lecturer in American politics at De Montfort University in the UK, and she joins us now to analyse the state of play in the election battle. Clodagh, thank you so much for your time. If we can first talk about the Democratic convention, by most people's measure, Hillary Clinton had a very good night with a very well-received speech, but the entire week as a whole was plagued with some controversy, particularly the burn factor and Bernie Sanders. Do you think now that she has officially accepted the nomination that Democrats will rally around her and show some kind of unity?
I think it will come. It's difficult for the Sandinistas at this point. You know, they wanted a revolution, and now they're being told to accept the establishment candidate, and that's a bitter pill for a lot of people to swallow. I think there's a sort of a period of flux at the moment when the Sanders supporters, they're trying to digest everything that's happened. There's a Pew Research poll just came out the past day or two saying that the vast majority of Sanders supporters are expected to come round to Clinton. Obviously some won't, not everybody will. The majority of them are expected to. I think there's a small number that will probably stay at home on November 8th just because they are disillusioned with how things have worked out. And there's talk of a very, very small number actually voting for Trump. But I think that will be a very, very slim minority when the time actually comes. Right now, it's about sort of settling in and accepting the new reality that Hillary is the candidate, whether they like it or not.
Well, as you point out, Bernie Sanders is no longer really the man in Hillary Clinton's way to the White House. It is Donald Trump, and we've seen him campaigning in Colorado. Interesting, saying he's now going to play Mr. Nice Guy, not going to play Mr. Nice Guy, sorry, and that the gloves are off. How were the gloves ever on? I mean, how can it get more brutal?
That's a very good question. I mean, I watched and listened to almost every word of the Republican convention, and I would not use the word nice about any of it. You know, there was a lot of it was so negatively focused on Hillary Clinton, proportionally, almost surprisingly, in the sense that there wasn't that much emphasis on Trump's policy detail, for example. So he was already putting the boot into Hillary. So if that was him being nice, the next couple of months could really be quite unpleasant to watch.
Donald Trump is, of course, no stranger to jaw-dropping comments, things like Mexican judges being racist, Muslims not being allowed into America, building a wall across Mexico, and most political analysts seem to think that that's not great, but it certainly doesn't seem to be harming him in the opinion polls. Are we not gauging the public's reaction and taking their temperature correctly here? Is that actually likely to get him more support?
Well, I think the country is really genuinely split, and it's quite a neat split, down the middle. I mean, one thing I would say is that right now, at this moment, if you look at polls from yesterday, for example, the two candidates are neck and neck. But the experts, people like Nate Silver, they actually say the post-convention polling numbers are not to be taken to heart, because you have a kind of a surge of emotion and feeling, and it's very kind of a high point, if you like, in how people perceive the candidates and the amount of talking and thinking that they're doing. So the kind of the general wisdom is, for the next couple of weeks, both candidates will have their post-convention bounce. We know Trump has gone up 3 to 4% as a result of his convention last week. The statisticians are still fiddling around with how Hillary has done from her convention. It will probably be early next week before we know for sure. But I would say August is the time where the polls actually settle down into some sort of more clear reality. It's holiday time, it's Olympics time. People will sort of forget a little bit about the elections through August. And then come Labor Day, which is early September, that is the day, the formal day that the last push of the election begins. So then you have 2 months of full-on campaigning, relentless stump speeches, town hall meetings. It will be a ferocious schedule for both of them. And this is where Trump has to finally come up with some specifics about what it is that he plans to do. How is he going to build the wall, for example? And this is the period where Hillary really, in my opinion, is in quite a strong position to remind all that big majority of minorities, the Hispanic population, the women, the LGBT community, African Americans, the whole portfolio of non-white conservative men, that she is their voice. And if they do remember to come out and vote on November 8th, they can actually defeat Trump. But, a week is a long time in politics, so who knows where we'll be by November 8th.
Indeed, and we are running out of time, Clodagh, but just quickly, as you say, those polling numbers are likely to get a little bit more accurate by August. Come November, do you have a prediction on who will be the President of the United States signing in on January 2017?
Well, I have to say, sort of considering how things are now versus, what may or may not happen over the next few months, my money is on Hillary, but only just. And that is assuming that there isn't some huge, there could be a terrorist attack, there could be an unforeseen international event that moves the goalpost. But right now, I would say Hillary will get it, but not by a landslide.
Clodagh Harrington, thank you so much for your insight.